All right, so let's call to order the Board of Supervisors work session of April 30, 2024. If everyone could join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States.
One nation, under indivisible, with liberty and
Thank you. That brings us to our first item on the agenda, which is public comment. Is there anyone wishing to be recognized? All right, seeing none, that brings us to our Public Works Director, Doug Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be as brief as I can. Just an update on the project. Still working through the closeout process on the streetlight program. Public Works and Community Center projects, the ARPA grant was submitted. And we're working with Boyle and MKSD on their presentation for the board. We're have that tentatively scheduled for the May 15th work session. So if that's acceptable to the board, just to give you a heads up, there'll probably be 20 minutes or a half an hour presentation for that. So looking forward to that and moving forward with the projects. The Arley grant submission, working on scoping form, which is due today for that for the school flashers at the middle school. And we received a Monco Conservation District grant. This is the dirt and gravel low volume road program. Unfortunately, we're going to have to cancel that grant because we couldn't come to agreement with the property owner discharging the additional stormwater. This is for Cobra Road from the crest of the hill down towards Old 40 Foot. Plan was to elevate the roadway because right now it's in some condition, and then to provide a couple of turnouts for stormwater and discharge on the property that's on the southwest corner of that intersection of Cobra and Old 40 Foot. There would have been a fairly significant amount of additional stormwater that would have been discharged onto that property according to the plan, and then it would have. The plan also included some upgrades to stormwater facilities down at the intersection of Box Culvert to handle the additional flow, to prevent the flooding and that happens at that intersection. But again, unfortunately, we couldn't come to terms with the property owner, and we're running out of time on the grant. So that we're basically going to have to cancel the grant and return the advance money that the conservation district provided us for working on that grant. I asked about its extensions. There's no extensions available, and I don't know if there's an opportunity to reapply if we can somehow work something out with the property, but we'll look into those avenues as well. I apologize for not getting it done. It's just I hate turning back money. It looks bad on everyone, but it's just unfortunate circumstances. Contract awards. There's two contracts to be awarded at your meeting tomorrow night. One's the base repair contract, and the other is the pavement marking contract. I'd hope to have a recommendation for you by now, but using the PennBid platform for this, and they changed platforms recently, and the learning curve is steeper than I anticipated. So I'm a little behind the 8 ball on that, and there were a few hiccups with the reporting and how the information was presented, and my understanding is that it's different on different computers and different systems, so they're working through bugs on their end, and I'm trying to navigate the process on my end, so I will have something for you for sure for your meeting tomorrow night. The initial blush and look at the numbers on the pavement markings, it's a little higher than last year, especially on the thermoplastic side. The paint side is fairly consistent. And the base repairs, it's about a 15% drop in the number this year versus last. So should be able to allow us to do more repairs on more roads. So that's a good thing. Sale of used equipment, again, we'll have a recommendation for awards for 2 pieces of equipment, and these are both the bids came in higher than the $2,000 threshold, which requires us to come back to you for your approval on these sales. But overall, we've sold a number of pieces of equipment, and I think there's a spreadsheet there in front of you. So it's close to $12,000 that we've in sales on various pieces of equipment. So time and effort involved in it. It helped us with the process of cleaning house, getting rid of the stuff that we no longer use, and then we get some money for it, so it's a good thing.
There's a cost to storing all this too, I imagine.
Exactly, and we're, evidenced by the lease, agreement that we're looking to have you approve as well, that, we're running out of space. So,
We'd rather sell it to other people who want to store it themselves.
yeah, exactly. That brings me to the garage lease. So we finalized the terms of the agreement. Signed the agreement. Review and hopefully approval for tomorrow night. If there's any other questions or last minute issues or concerns, then please let me know. But Andy has reviewed it thoroughly. Joe and I have both reviewed it and are comfortable with the direction that we're heading.
I
And this- Go ahead.
just had a few questions on this. One, the term of this lease of 2 years. There's no way we could get 1 year for that, because it's still, if we still go up in price, it's not like we're locking in our price with the 3% after the 2 years, but I did, just Googling, I haven't had an agreement in a while, but I haven't seen anything for 2 years, especially in regards to garages, so I was just curious anybody's take on that.
We actually wanted 3.
Preferred longer.
Why is that?
Because this is kind of the first phase of the whole process of demolishing the house and the barn at the golf course, which then opens the possibility of a new building, maintenance building for the golf course, which then in turn helps us if we move forward with Public Works for a storage place, or even a satellite's temporary salt building or dome, or structure, some kind of a temporary structure. So it kind of, it's in my mind, it's the beginning of the whole snowball of everything that we would like to do and that we're talking about doing. Whether it all happens or not, that's, to be determined, but at least this gives us an opportunity to start. And I don't see this taking, like I said, it's going to be a while for the process to happen.
No, I appreciate that. The other question I had, I know we talked about the rent, and they're $200 higher. We couldn't find any middle there at all. We tried to go back at least, say.
We did. Had some concessions on items that more maintenance intensive items. And we thought that was a fair trade-off for the additional rental costs.
Appreciate the feedback on that. Then I think the only other question I had, and I forget where I read it, but Doug, you could perhaps answer this if I haven't seen the premise. It said something about the use of bathrooms. Now, the way I read it said the tenant cannot use the bathroom. Is their bathroom just sitting there?
There are no restroom.
Just wanted to double check. The way it was worded, I just wanted to imagine.
Bring it out from the door and say,
It's like one right here.
Owner friendly agreement from the beginning, so we did our best to tailor it to our needs and make it as friendly as we could on our end as well. So we think we've struck pretty fair compromise. Okay, moving on, that contractor doing some Cape sealing on crack sealing on Cape Seal roads. I'll have a full list of the roads that are going to be improved for you at our next meeting. I'm still working on that and finalizing numbers. I found out.
Excuse me one second. I saw a sign on for Kinsey Road. Where are they? Not on a new paving, right? What?
Their PennDOT is going to chip seal that. I just found that out the other day.
What's the point?
It's 19 millimeter. I think their new process is, rather than put 1.5 inches wearing on it, they're doing chip seal on these roads that they're resurfacing.
But they just resurfaced it. They just resurfaced it, but it's just they use the binder
They
course.
use the 19 millimeter instead of 9.5. So it's not technically it's not a final wearing course.
Call your state rep.
We Cape Seal roads, Asphalt Maintenance Solutions, they're doing the work. And they've tried to talk PennDOT. They're also planning to do Ruth, Clemens, Yoder, Fretz. that whole zigzag stretch as well later this year. And it should. They
It's
tried
ridiculous.
to talk them out
And
of
the
it.
minutes reflect that Mr. Shore was sputtering. He was,
It's only do half the job, that's great.
You heard it's more about PennDOT. That's
Yeah.
the lead.
Yeah, but that was my next item to discuss is.
I'm sorry.
on a positive note, though, neighbors on Bell Lane, I was at a meeting last night. And the wife informed me, she's like, yeah, we were trying to figure out what's going on. We saw signs, didn't get a letter, and then I went on the website and I saw the whole Cape Seal process and the, the video, and very well informed and had no further questions. So,
Great.
I was really gonna say that, back to what you were saying, I get the why, but watching that video and when we learned about it a few years ago would explain the emphasis from their standpoint to do that. If
Yeah, that was, I mean, it's helpful to provide the residents information like that. And it's one thing just to put it in a letter that nobody reads, but
she was able to find it and use it and.
use it, watch the video, and then you have a better understanding
Well
of
done.
what we're doing. So, yeah, that was one of the roads that they started, just an update on department activities, Royal Park improvements are continuing, the base repair, base paving of the new parking areas completed. We created about 10 new spots there that are pretty valuable, especially during the evening. And they were using the grants anyway to park and backing into the fence, and so what we've done with the new fence and, the, reconfiguring or, lowering one of the swing sets is, I think has made a dramatic improvement to the park. With all the new fencing in the parking areas, and once we do the final paving and striping and, some other improvements that we're talking about, then, it's gonna be a really nice park, I think. The new sign's been reinstalled. We installed an access drive and basically a trail connection for the Perkins Watershed Conservancy at Wright Park. They asked for some overflow parking in the field adjacent to the barn, and with that drainage swale, they had no way of really getting people really going out on the road, so we had an old corrugated metal pipe that was just sitting around. We dropped it in there, created a trail across it, and stabilized the parking, or an entrance anyway, so that they can use parking for their events. And I know they have a big plant sale, and whenever they're doing educational events and things like that, or volunteers, they've got a place to park, and they're not clogging up the main parking area, so. Had a significant amount of graffiti at Oliver Park recently. We got a pink spray can, bandit. It's going around and defacing a lot of the storyboards. Some of the swings, benches, the rubber mats that are underneath the swings, the kiosk. So this has happened on 2 occasions. Considered putting up trail cams or some kind of cameras. Unfortunately, the vendor that is local, it's a local guy. His cameras, they flash at night. So it's kind of defeats the purpose of being, how do you say, incognito or whatever, so.
We hope to have the video camera.
Yeah, the power should be available to the site by Memorial Day, so this month or the month of May, we're gonna get the poles and the conduit run and all the electrical done for it. So that once that's started, we can move on. I also have an issue with the guide rail at Breton Castle that keeps getting hit by trucks. So working to get a meeting with PennDOT to see what we can do to resolve that. I'll also talk to Stephanie about the possibility of restricting truck traffic on Castle Road. That might solve the problem. I think the issue is you're coming from Schoolhouse towards Fred's. Trucks that are making the right turn to go towards Yoder have a difficult time because they almost have to, I think they have to encroach on the oncoming traffic, Fred's Road traffic, to make that turn. And when they don't, the trailer wheels end up catching the guide rail. It's probably been damaged 4 or 5 times in the last.
It was fixed last week, Tuesday, and I think
And now it's down.
Thursday. Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen it since then, but I saw it was up like 2 feet last time.
Oh, yeah,
I think
that was
was
the
fixed.
time that they fixed it, and
Yeah.
then 2 days later,
So it's a persistent problem. So it might be something that, we can ask PennDOT to do the traffic study, the warrants to see whether the truck restrictions even warranted. I don't know if the board wants to go there or not.
We can look at it, but I'm telling you, it's not gonna, it's just that turn. Everything else on that road's fine.
I know, we'll do something with it.
So who pays for that replacement? That was gonna be my question. Are we paying for that?
The guide rail?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
it's PennDOT guide rail.
Talk to your state rep.
Yeah, like I said, I
Make a note.
It's
try
definitely
to schedule a meeting with their maintenance people. Even if it's something like surface mounted delineators that could keep the trucks toward the double yellow and force them to make a wider turn instead of trying to cut the corner. I even had a resident call me that said his wife cut the corner, the piece of the section of the guide rail sticking out, and she hit it.
She caught it.
Yeah,
Well, that's the thing. Once it's struck, it becomes a hazard in and of itself.
exactly.
Okay.
So.
definitely worthwhile, but PennDOT know and see what
Yeah, I'll see what they, hopefully trying to make this so that it's no cost to the township, obviously. So,
We'd appreciate that.
we've got a parking issue or parking concern for the senior center. Because they're gaining in popularity and the lunchtime crowd they love their meatloaf. Well, their busiest day is meatloaf day, believe it or not, yes. Yeah, the $2 lunches are a hit.
I'm going.
So there's a considerable amount of traffic and it's between 11:30 and 1:30. It's that time frame, where they're parking on the street where it's considered no parking, or, where it's difficult for two vehicles to pass one another while there's cars there. So we're looking into options. There might be an opportunity for us to create some recessed parking along their parking lot, their upper parking lot, and still allow enough room for two vehicles to pass. It might act as some traffic calming as well, because there's an issue with speeding on that road, especially coming around the bend and, all of a sudden you're come upon a senior that's trying to cross the road to get to the senior center, then it's a little bit unnerving. So we're looking into that as well.
Thank you.
And then lastly, on the personnel issue, I have some candidates to interview for 2 positions. I'm also still in need of one more summer employee, and our one part-timer, Rob Ryan, decided not to return this year, so. He's a retired whip pain mechanic that lives in the township, and we're helping us out 3 days a week, and he's just, life's getting in the way, so he's just decided not to return, so. But we have some openings that we're trying to fill, so if you know anybody, please send them my way. That's all that I have. Be happy to answer any questions.
I just had one issue. A resident came to me. He's on 164 Kinsey Road. It's on the state portion of the road. He says there's a dead tree in the right of way. I know it's not our responsibility, but maybe there's you can call somebody at the state level, find out what they can do. Yeah. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
State rep, thank you.
Now, well, she's fine.
Doug, I just want to say thanks for all your efforts. It's great. You guys are doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
So thanks for that. And if you could also just inventory the parking spaces that are at the senior center currently, make sure that we're gonna have.
That's concerns, and make sure that we at least have what we have currently, or even a little bit more. And then the thought is that the existing scout cabin parking would be the overflow. The challenge is they need it for 2 hours,
Understood.
but when they need it, they need it.
Yep.
And we're trying now to encourage them to use the park, park parking, put up some signs for overflow parking and direct them there, and maybe they can use the path to come across. But yeah, we're trying to work out some issues and make it work for everyone without being too much of an imposition for, being my staff or their staff as well.
Awesome.
So is that a curiosity, meet like once a week, or is it?
Wednesday,
Yeah.
yeah, anybody's welcome, suggested donation, $2.
No, I mean, I was just thinking traffic wise, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was crazy, the first time, a couple months ago, they were backing into along the park there and just jumping the curb and parking in the grass because there was nowhere else to park, or didn't want to walk down to the park, so.
And
I'm working with the staff to encourage them to use that. To have staff use it, they have an agreement with Fred from Villavito. To use his parking lot during the day, so, and he's amenable to that, so. We're looking at all the.
Golf carts, transportation.
Just as an aside, in talking with Boyle Construction, they, in their schedule, they asked me if there's an opportunity for, if everything moves forward, to kind of move forward with public works before the seniors are out of the building. It would save about 6 or 8 months of construction time, but they would lose that entire upper parking lot. So we're trying to think of, the shuttle was the first thing that I thought of is, but would the seniors use it? Or they come, there's these.
there's also mobility options,
Right.
like if you need a different kind of shuttle if you have wheelchairs, which is also one of the reasons people want to park closer, so.
Yeah.
Extra handicap spots might be
More right,
something we
because
consider then
additional
in the
handicap
future when we.
spots. And actually, they're looking at taking their staff, the reserve staff parking and making that handicap accessible parking as well. So
Thank you.
looking at every opportunity to make it work. Well. All I have, thank you.
Anything else for Mr. Jones? Moving right along, Chief.
The only thing I had was alumni, so good.
Park.
Sounds good.
James Pfister way.
Got it. Very good. The building and zoning director
Yes,
played by the part of Mr. Jakowski this morning.
thank you. My next report this morning, 53 permits have been issued thus far for April. There is no zoning hearing application yet for May, but they are expecting an application for 8-lot subdivision on the road. That's in the May district. A new sketch plan has been submitted for 488 Harlingsville Pike, which includes 26 dwelling units. May PC meeting, the Shahada subdivision with 3 twin buildings and 88 Harlingsville Pike sketch plan, as well as the first go round with 196 Main Street. There's no land development items for the regular board meeting tomorrow night. And that's it.
Excellent. I'd say, are there any questions, but I'm imagining if there are, we'll send them to Mike. Anyway, next up, the manager, now playing the part.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item is a review of the minutes for April the 3rd. Anyone has any questions, comments?
Anybody else? We're good.
All right, the agenda for tomorrow evening. New business. Resolution 2024-08 authorizing the submission of Greenways Trails and Recreation Program grant. This is for the phase 2 of the 113 Shared Use Path project. Resolution 2024-09 authorization of the submission of a multimodal transportation fund grant for the Oak Drive right turn lane and sidewalk connection project. Next item is the adoption of a proclamation designated May 22nd through 25th, 2024. Harleysville Country Fair. Next item is fire police assistance request for the Skip Back Lions Club 5K and 1 mile fun run on Saturday, June 22nd. Next item is, as Mr. Jones had alluded to, the 2024 by 2 minutes base repair contract and the 2024 pavement markings contract. Next item is award of sale for used equipment through municipal bid, a Playmore 6 HV sweeper and the Malden 550 paver. And the final item on the agenda for tomorrow night is the lease agreement for the garage space at 8-4 Carlisle. And that is all I have for today, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. Any questions for Mr. Dickinson? Hearing none, do we have need for executive session this morning?
We do not, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. So with that, I take a motion to adjourn unless there's any other questions, comments, or concerns. Motion.
Motion second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Thank you, everyone.
Hey, Doug, one of these